All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to tackle a big one, learning English vocabulary. And I want you to just forget everything you think you know about memorizing endless lists of words. We're going to dive into a much better way, inspired by a really insightful lecture that helps you learn words by actually understanding how they connect to each other. So let's just jump right in.
Does this look familiar to you? I mean, staring at a huge list of totally random English words, just trying to brute force them into your memory? You know the drill. It's so frustrating, it's not very efficient, and let's be honest, half of those words are gone by the next day. But what if I told you there's a much smarter, way more intuitive way to do this?
Okay, here's the secret sauce. Instead of thinking of words as these lonely, isolated things, we're going to start learning them by understanding their relationships. You know, how they connect, how they contrast with each other, how they fit together to paint a bigger picture. This isn't about memorizing anymore. This is about really, truly understanding.
So let's kick things off with a classic pair of opposites, abundance versus scarcity. See, by learning the words for having a lot of something and having very little at the exact same time, you create these really strong hooks in your brain that make both sets of words way easier to remember.
So, on one side, you've got these big, powerful words that just scream plenty, right? Words like cornucopia and plethora. And then on the other side, you have these words that kind of whisper, not enough, like dearth and paucity. Just putting them side by side like this, you can almost feel the tension between them. And learning them as a pair of opposites makes each one stick so much better. Let's just zoom in on one of those for a second. Cornucopia. Now, the real key to remembering a word like this is its story. It actually comes from the Latin for horn of plenty, this mythical goat's horn that just overflowed with endless food and riches. Once you get that powerful image locked in your mind, the word's not going anywhere. It's not just a definition anymore, it's a story about ultimate abundance.
And check this out, here's how these words work together to create real meaning in a sentence. Saudi Arabia has a cornucopia of oil, a massive abundance, but a severe dearth of water. See that? Placing those opposites right next to each other makes the contrast so incredibly clear and powerful. That is the technique in action right there.
Great! You're getting the hang of this. So let's move on to our next pair and see how this whole thing builds. Harmony versus discord. This is all about agreement versus disagreement. You know, things coming together versus things falling apart. And it's a theme you see absolutely everywhere, from music all the way to politics.
And here is a fantastic little shortcut for you. Pay close attention to prefixes. The prefix con, it usually means with or together. So think about words like concord, consensus, congruence. They all have this idea of coming together. Now on the flip side, you have contra, which means against, contravene, controvert. These are words of opposition. Just by knowing that little prefix, you've already got a huge clue about what the word means. It's like a cheat code.
Now for what some people call a treacherous word, compact. We all know it can mean something small or densely packed, but it also means a formal agreement, and the connection between the two meanings is just brilliant. A compact is an agreement that brings people close together, just like something that's densely packed. The two meanings are actually linked by that central idea of closeness. Pretty cool, right?
And let's put this into a real-world situation. Okay, so there is no accord, no harmony between the groups. The opposition is voicing its conflict, its disagreement, and the dam project would disrupt the concordant or harmonious balance of nature. You see how the words themselves paint this really clear picture of tension and discord.
All right, time for something a little different. A quick bonus round just to show you that this method works with basically any theme you can think of. Let's jump into the animal kingdom for a little rapid-fire vocabulary boost. Ready?
First one up, bovine. It's from cattle. And you might hear someone describe a slow, kind of dull person as a bovine creature.
Next up, canine from dogs. Easy enough. You might talk about canine speed for something that's really fast and loyal. Then, of course, we have feline from cats. People use it to describe someone who's super graceful and stealthy. You know, think Catwoman from Batman. And finally, vulpine. This one comes from foxes, and it describes someone with that fox-like cunning. So if someone has a vulpine intelligence, it means they're really crafty and sharp. So you see, whether we're talking about huge ideas like abundance and scarcity, or just fun words from the animal kingdom, the principle is exactly the same. Learning words in these connected groups makes them so much more powerful and way, way easier to remember.
So here it is, the big takeaway. The most crucial point is this. Stop trying to memorize the dictionary page by page. Instead, start looking for the patterns, the opposites, the synonyms, the themes. Start to see the beautiful web of relationships that connects our entire language together. That, right there, is the key to unlocking a much richer vocabulary. And that really just leaves us with one final question to think about. Once you start to see this intricate web of language, not just as a tool, but as a whole system of connected ideas, how much is that going to change the way you think? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.